Are you thinking of volunteering or joining a nonprofit board? Before you say yes, take a breath. Giving back can be one of the most meaningful decisions you make, but only if you understand the roles you're stepping into. Today, I'll walk you through the questions most people never ask, the red flags they miss, and how to choose the right way to serve, whether that's hands on volunteering or taking a seat in the boardroom. Hi, I'm Joe Blatt and welcome to Joe Talks Nonprofits. I have been working with nonprofit organizations my entire career. I've been advising boards and managements in both financial and governance issues for the past 40 years. The first thing I would tell you is that joining a board or volunteering is very fulfilling. It allows you to give back to the community, to help advocate for your causes. I would caution you not to take your responsibilities lightly. This is not a networking event or cocktail hour. The roles you are signing up for is an important role. It requires a level of commitment of your time, no different than a paying job. Deciding how best to serve the cause you're interested in can be divided into various ways and is not limited to one option. The easiest way to help a nonprofit is to make a financial commitment. This doesn't have to be a significant financial commitment, it can be as little as $10 a month. Your financial commitment will help the organization achieve their programmatic goals. Today's episode will focus on giving of your time, your skills, and your knowledge to support the nonprofit's organization or a cause you're passionate about. Let's first start with choosing how you want to serve. Board service and volunteering are very different. Many people join boards thinking of it as another form of volunteering, but it's not. It's a governance, oversight, and legal role. It comes with significant responsibilities, and you rarely interact with the clients of the organization. Volunteering, on the other hand, is much more hands on, it is more task oriented. Let's start with volunteering. If you haven't done so already, I strongly recommend volunteering for a nonprofit organization. There are many volunteering opportunities out there that could interest you. The most recent national data from the US Census Bureau and AmeriCorps shows that formal volunteers in the US serve an estimated 5 billion hours between September 2022 and September 2023. They estimate the annual impact to these organizations was $167 billion. If you're wondering what type of volunteering opportunities are available and which will suit you best, ask yourself the following questions. Why am I volunteering? Does the organization mission align with my values? Are you volunteering for yourself or are you volunteering for the cause? How much time are you willing to commit to the organization? Are you looking for a one time commitment or are you looking for a weekly or monthly commitment? Do you want to work in a team setting or are you okay working independently or remotely? If you're passionate about the environment, you can get involved with planting trees, cleaning up parklands, guiding and educating people through walks and other events. If you're passionate about homelessness and helping low income families, you may want to volunteer in a food kitchen, a homeless shelter, or distributing food or blankets to the homeless or the poor. If you're passionate about education, you may want to volunteer at a school or a nonprofit organization that helps students by tutoring. Volunteer fire departments and ambulance corps would not exist without people who were committed to serve. No different than accepting a paying job, volunteering requires you to invest and commit your time. Most organizations will have to invest their time and effort in training you to be a volunteer. You want to make sure that you're committed to the cause and committed to giving of your time. Before you pick an organization to volunteer for, you should do your due diligence. Look them up on the internet, see what others say about them, read their mission statement, annual report, 990, or financial statements. Very often, you can find these on their website or on the internet. If you're still interested in the organization, ask to meet with a representative and understand what they're looking for in a volunteer. Some red flags to consider before committing to a nonprofit organization you should look out for include no structure for the volunteer roles they're looking to fill, no support or logistics if something goes wrong, and no liability insurance for volunteers. Remember, as a volunteer, you are substituting for an employee. Your role should have a clear definition. It should have safety precautions, supervision, and training when necessary. If you're not sure where to start or don't feel comfortable reaching out directly to a nonprofit organization, there are volunteer matching organizations out there that can help you. In addition, many cities will have local organizations that will match you with a local nonprofit. As you think of how can I best serve the organization, there are different ways to volunteer. These can include direct service, such as working in a soup kitchen, tutoring students after school, skilled volunteer work, such as bookkeeping, social media, or marketing. There's event based volunteering, such as helping with the gala or other fundraising events. There's short term or one time events, such as wrapping presents for children before Christmas or helping to hand out backpacks to students before the start of the school year. I know many people who look forward each year to volunteering during their vacation time. They come back to work with a level of fulfillment and joy they don't always get from their current career. Others give time one weekend a month or full time after retirement. All of them enjoy the service and look forward to their next opportunity. Once you have committed to volunteering for an organization, you should take your job responsibilities seriously. You should treat it the same way as you do your current job. Show up on time, communicate clearly, follow staff guidance, and show positivity. Over time, this can be a fulfilling part of your life. If you possess strong leadership skills and feel your skills would be an asset to the nonprofit organization's board, then board service may be a good fit for you. I've been working with boards for over 40 years, and the one thing they all have in common is their desire to give back to the community. Many come to join a board based on personal connections with a cause or an organization. Board members come to the board with different skills. For many, this is their first time they are serving on a board as a board member, but may have volunteered their time and energy helping the organization or other organizations. The time demand varies by board and your involvement with various committees. When determining which type of organization is right for you, you should follow a similar path as volunteering in regards to the type of organization you want to work with. Board service comes with more long term responsibilities and commitments. This role is not for everybody. You need to ask yourself, what skills will I bring to the board? How will my experience in life and work help fulfill the mission of the organization? Many boards are looking to the community to bring a fresh perspective to the board. For example, I have a friend whose mother has MS, and he chose to serve on a local chapter of the MS Society's board. Most board members stay on a board for many years. You don't want to be in the position of keeping on jumping from board to board. I personally sit on a board of a foster care agency in New York called Forestdale. They have been around for over 150 years. They did so by the commitment of many board members that came before me and had the vision to govern the organization well. And it is now my responsibility, along with my fellow board members, to make sure we do the same so the organization will still thrive 100 years from now. If this is your first time looking to serve on a board, you're probably going to be best off serving on a smaller or mid sized board. It's hard to get onto a board of a major, well known organization. Before joining a board, you should do your due diligence on the organization. I would start by going on their website and looking what they have to say about themselves and their programs. Look them up on the internet, see what others are saying about them. Social media as well can be very helpful. Read their mission statement, newsletters, and articles on the organization. Many of these should be on their website. Also, download their annual report, 990 filings, and financial statements if they're available. I will do a separate session on how to read and how to access the 990 and financial statements in the coming weeks. Look out for red flags. Some red flags include poor comments or reviews about the organization on the internet, or employee dissatisfaction on websites such as Glassdoor. A lack of available information about the organization on their website may also be a red flag. Remember, nonprofits function under what's called public interest, and as such, should have a level of transparency to the public. Make sure your values align with those of the organization you want to serve. Before joining a board, consider volunteering or joining a committee. This will let you see the culture of the organization before you make the commitment of joining the board. Once you've done your due diligence and want to go ahead and join the board, you'll need to meet with the organization's CEO and nominating committee of the board to explain why you are looking to join the board. You should be prepared to demonstrate value, highlight what you can bring to the board. This is an interview not only of you, but also for you. Have some key questions you want to ask, including what are the time and financial commitments you will need to make. Make sure this is something that is acceptable to you. I met a lot of board members when I was in public accounting, and you'd be surprised at how many left the board within a couple of years. They underestimated their time commitments or their responsibilities to the board. Look out for red flags. Some red flags include the board or management's refusal to provide you with financial information about the organization, high turnover in board members, or a lack of clarity on roles and responsibilities of the board. The time commitments generally range between 1 to 4 hours per month, depending on your position. The board officers and committee chairs generally have a longer time commitment. Also, understand that the time will vary based on what is going on during certain parts of the year. For example, around the time of the annual gala or the organization's fiscal year end. Most board members have some level of financial commitments that you need to be prepared to make. Most boards have a give and get policy, which allows you to help fundraise for part of your annual commitment. This means some of the commitments can come from your employer, friends and family, and other third parties. So, for example, if your commitment is $1,000, your employer may match your contribution, and you may have a few friends who may also give as part of that commitment. Many people ask why nonprofit organizations require volunteer board members to also give financial commitments. And there's a good reason for this. It makes sure that all board members are committed to the organization. It's hard to ask strangers to give to an organization when you are not willing to give to it yourself. Don't let this commitment scare you off from joining a board. Many times, if you have a conversation with the board when you apply, they may reduce it for you if you feel that you're a good fit for the board. You need to understand what you would be bringing to the board in skill and experience. Are the skills you have developed over time from your career or your personal life of value to the organizations? Boards have limited seats and are looking for specific skill sets. This doesn't mean you need to be a CPA, lawyer, or executive. You may be good with social media, fundraising, or understand the mission well. For a foster care agency, having a person who grew up in foster care would provide a valuable point of view to the board. Once you join, a well prepared board will provide you with a welcome package, which will include the organization's financial statements, board minutes, bylaws, mission statements, as well as the organization's newsletters, any public articles the organization appeared in over the last couple of years, both positive and negative, and other documents which will help new members get up to speed and understand the organization better. The board may also have some form of board indoctrination or training that will help you in the first year of service. Many boards will also have ongoing training and education on how each of the programs work to help you understand them better over time. Most effective boards use the general board meetings to report on committee work and discuss key issues that the entire board need to weigh in on, such as policies, strategic planning, and voting on key issues such as new board membership. The committees do most of the hard work and can spend more time on a particular subject or project. They generally will bring their recommendations to the board and allow the board to ask questions and vote on specific issues. Most boards have an executive committee that is made up of the officers of the organization. They meet most frequently and typically act on behalf of the board on urgent and sensitive matters. They typically also evaluate the CEO's performance. Boards also will typically have a finance committee, which will approve the organization's budget and monitor the financial health of the organization, an audit committee, which will hire and monitor the annual audit and tax filing, a governance and nominating committee, which will recruit and vet new board members and ensure compliance with legal and ethical standards, a fundraising committee, which guides fundraising strategy, helps secure sponsorships, cultivates new donors, and oversees major fundraising events such as the annual gala. Other standing committees may include the investment committee and certain types of program committees. On occasion, organizations may also establish what are called ad hoc committees for short term projects such as strategic plan or construction. Once the project is completed, these committees generally will be disbanded. If you choose to join the board, I would recommend joining at least one or two committees. The time requirements for each committee varies and you should understand them before you join. As a CPA, I joined my board's audit committee since I felt that's where I provided the most expertise. But I also chose a committee where I could learn more about the organization and strengthen my knowledge and skills as well. Board members wear three hats. The first is that of governance, the second is that of volunteer and fundraiser, and the third is that of advocate or ambassador. Let's go deeper into what each of these roles mean to you. The role of governance is an important role. You are now part of the mission of the organization. You should not take the role lightly. You and the rest of the board are given the responsibility to steer the ship, set expectations of management, and make sure the organization continues to fulfill its mission. Role of volunteer and fundraiser is also an important role. This is now your business, and as such, you need to help fulfill its mission. This may include volunteering your time where needed, either in your professional skills or in other ways. It also requires you to help raise funds for the organization to fund their program. This is why many board members set a give/get policy. This sets expectations of how much each board member is expected to bring in annually at a minimum. Most exceed this amount. This may feel a bit intimidating at first, but once you learn the mission well, you'll be surprised at how many people over time you can get to give. The role of advocate and ambassador requires you to speak about the mission, public awareness, advocacy, and resource development. This could be discussions with your friends and neighbors, or it may involve public officials as well as potential donors. This is why it's important to clearly understand your organization's mission and its programs. As a board member, you have a fiduciary responsibility to act in the best interest of the organization. These duties are divided into three parts: the duty of loyalty, the duty of care, and the duty of obedience. The duty of care means you must act with reasonable care, diligence, and informed judgment when making business decisions. You should follow the same decision making process as if this was your personal business. You should attend and actively participate in board and committee meetings and review materials in advance of each meeting. Ask questions and exercise independent judgments. Don't follow the crowd, but be meaningful in your decision making process. Use professionals when necessary, CPAs, attorneys, etc., as part of your decision making process. The duty of loyalty means you must act in the best interest of the organization, not in your personal or professional interest. This includes avoiding any conflicts of interest. If you sell insurance, your firm shouldn't be providing those services to the nonprofit organization. If they do, you need to recuse yourselves from the process, and the board needs to make sure that they have bids from other agencies that show the fees they're paying to your organization are reasonable. The organization then has to disclose this conflict in their financial statements and their 990 filings with the IRS. Board members have the responsibility to disclose any relationships they may have with the organization. This is done annually with a signed conflict of interest statement. This doesn't mean that if a conflict occurs during the year, you don't have to immediately report it, but it is good governance to sign this form on an annual basis. Some of these relationships may not cause a conflict of interest, but you still must disclose it to let management and your fellow board members know of any relationships you may have. You should not be using the information you learned at a board meeting for personal gain. This does not mean following the organization blindly. If there is an inappropriate behavior, you still have the responsibility to report it. This brings us to our third duty, the duty of obedience. Board members must ensure that the organization acts in accordance with their mission, governing documents and applicable laws, safeguarding donated funds, making sure that they're being used in accordance with the donor's request. Make sure the organization is not moving away from its mission and is following the law. Many boards also have a youth advisory board that consists of individuals who are young, energetic, and earlier in their professional career. These boards don't govern the day to day operations, but work to help build the name of the organization through social media, friends events, and other projects. This is a great opportunity for those who are first starting out in their professional career and want to serve on a board, but don't yet have the expertise to lend to the organization. If you're ready to join a board, but aren't sure on how to find the right fit, there are several organizations out there that can help you choose the right match. I worked with an organization called Board Assist when I was looking to join a board, and they matched me with Forestdale. These organizations can be very helpful. They can help you understand the time and financial commitments and help narrow down your search to organizations that best suit your skill level. If you decide to join a board or already serve on one, I will be producing a separate podcast for board members going into more detail on board responsibilities and expectations. I'll also go through what boards can do better to help onboard new board members. Remember, before you say yes, slow the process down, ask questions, review documents, make sure the mission inspires you and that the governance structure supports you. A thoughtful yes helps nonprofits thrive. A rushed yes helps no one. Some key takeaways: ask questions before you volunteer or join a board. For volunteers, is there a clear role and responsibility? What are the time expectations? Is there training, supervision? Is there insurance if something goes wrong? For board members, what is the financial commitments? How many hours per month? What is the board culture like? What is the CEO board relationship? What is the biggest challenges facing the organization? And how long do board members typically stay? If you found this episode helpful, subscribe to Joe Talks Nonprofits, share this episode with friends or colleagues who may be interested in learning more about this subject. This podcast is intended for general informational and educational purposes only. It does not constitute accounting, legal, or tax advice and should not be relied on as such. Laws, regulations, and accounting standards change frequently, and their applications can vary widely based on specific facts and circumstances. Accordingly, listeners should consult with qualified professional advisors regarding their individual situations before taking any action. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you next time.